Hey guys, it's Fox here, and this is a quick guide to everything you need to know about the United Football League. The United Football League is the child of the merged United States Football League and XFL. Both of these leagues merged over this offseason to form the United Football League. The owners of this group are split 50-50. The owners of the United States Football League and Fox Corporation now own 50% of it, and 50% of the XFL side is split between Redbird Capital, Dwayne Johnson, and Danny Garcia. In terms of the two head honchos of the league, the XFL CEO and president Russ Brandon is now going to be serving as the CEO as the United Football League. And then Daryl Johnston, the man who was the president of the United States Football League this past season, is now the executive vice president of football operations. So both these men have a ton of experience in terms of front office, whether it be Russ Brandon in a true professional sports sense, or Daryl Johnson, who has been in spring football ever since the 2019 AAF for the San Antonio Commanders. Now, in terms of the teams, across both leagues, there were 16 teams this past season, but for many different reasons, there are only 8 teams in this merged league. The 4 teams coming from the XFL side are the Arlington Renegades, St. Louis Battlehawks, San Antonio Brahmas, and DC Defenders. Now, for the USFL side, it's a bit tricky, with the Stallions, Memphis Showboats, and Michigan Panthers being easy, but the Houston Gamblers have rebranded to be the Houston Roughnecks. Not to be confused with the Houston Roughnecks team that played this past season in the XFL. This is the exact same Gamblers team we saw last year in the USFL, now branded as the Houston Roughnecks. Now, in terms of the head coaches of these teams, 6 of them returned to the same team they were at last year. Skip Holtz returns to the Stallions, Curtis Johnson returns to the Roughnecks, Mike Nolan returns to the Panthers. On the XFL side, Bob Stoops returns to the Renegades, Reggie Barlow returns to the Defenders, and Anthony Becht returns to the Battlehawks. There were 2 coaching changes, however. Todd Haley was out as Memphis' head coach, and in stepped New Orleans Breakers head coach John DeFilippo. As for the XFL side of things, San Antonio head coach Hines Ward is out, and in steps Houston Roughnecks head coach Wade Phillips. Now, in terms of where these teams will be playing, all of them except one are going to be playing at the same place they did last year. The Stallions are playing at Protective Stadium, the Showboats at Simons Bank Liberty Stadium, Michigan Panthers at Ford Field, the Renegades at Choctaw Stadium, the Defenders at Audi Field, the Brahmas at the Alamodome, and of course the Battlehawks at the Dome at America Center. Now, the Houston Roughnecks did play at TDECU Stadium this past year, but this year they will be playing at Rice Stadium instead. Now, as for the regular season, it is going to be the same way all the previous modern spring football leagues have happened. Essentially, there will be 40 regular season games, 2 conference championship games, and a championship game. 10-week regular season, with the league being divvied up to 2 conferences in the USFL conference and XFL conference. Each team will play their in-conference opponents twice and the other conference's teams one time to form their 10-game schedule. And naturally, the conference championship will be the same way the playoffs have been, where the 2 best teams in each conference play each other to then get to the championship game with the 2 winners. Now, the big thing is that the TV schedule is going to be the best spring football has ever seen. The modern spring football, we have 31 of all the games being on either ABC or Fox, with 10 of them being on ESPN, meaning only 2 games are on somewhat hard-to-reach networks in ESPN2 and FS1. Now, there are 3 regional broadcasts. This is the first time spring football in the modern era has had that happen, as the AEF, XFL, USFL, and XFL 3.0, none of them had that. There are 3 instances, 1 in Week 4, 1 in Week 5, and 1 in Week 9, where it'll be just like NFL Sunday games, where pending where you are in the country depends on which game you get. Now, as for the season schedule, the season opens Saturday, March 30th at 1 p.m. with the Birmingham Stallions, the USFL champions, going against the Arlington Renegades, the XFL champions. Then the regular season ends Week 10 at Sunday, June 2nd, with the final game of the regular season with the Roughnecks against the Showboats at 7 p.m. Then the conference title games will happen the week after, June 8th and June 9th. And the UFL championship will follow the USFL method, where it happens the week directly after the season ends, or the conference championship ends, as it will be on June 16th. Then, in terms of the hubs, the controversial hubs are back, as none of these teams will be, aside from the Renegades, will be practicing in their home stadium. But they will be divvied up into 2 different teams in different stadiums. The Defenders and Roughnecks are together, the Brahmas and Panthers are together, and the Battlehawks and Showboats are together. The Renegades and Stallions are the final team that is together as well. Now, there are some massively different rules between the UFL and the NFL. The 4 biggest ones are the PATs are following the XFL method, which is a 1-point try being a 2-yard scrimmage play, the 2-point successful try being a 5-yard scrimmage play, and a 3-point play being a 10-yard scrimmage play. The kickoffs is a big deal, but they're going to the USFL kickoff. The USFL kickoff and XFL kickoff, while no official stats have been actually revealed, from what we understand, both these methods have proven to lessen the injury woes of the kick return play, but have allowed for more returns. But the USFL one was far better at having big play returns. So they're going with the USFL method, which is where the kickoffs will look more traditional, but essentially the kicker is kicking it from a much farther back spot and the running rules are a bit different. This is going to allow for a bunch of big plays in the kick return. Then the alternate possession option, instead of being able to do onside kicks, while you still can do it, you now also have the opportunity to do a 4th and 12 from the 28-yard line instead. This is a hybrid of both the USFL and XFL rules they had this past season. This is one a lot of people do like. And the overtime is the same for both these leagues, as it is going to be a 2-point conversion shootout. Each team will go 5-yard plays from the end zone, 5-yard 2-point conversion shootout, best of 3 format, or until a winner is determined. There are a few other rules, but these are the main ones. And then last but not least, just to note some of these big name players, a couple of these guys include guys like Matt Corral, Breland Speaks, AJ McCarron, Hakeem Butler. All of these guys having different amounts of NFL success or being high picks. As a guy like Breland Speaks was a 2nd-round pick, Matt Corral was one of the earliest quarterbacks taken just a couple years ago. AJ McCarron has been in the NFL for almost a decade, and this is a big deal. And so that'll do it for this. Everything you need to know about the United Football League. There's a bunch of other minor things, but these are all the things that you do need to know. The rules, the schedule, the teams, the head coaches, and all that. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. And if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, click the join button to join and become a member of the channel with exclusive perks starting at as little as $1 a month. And as always, have a great night.